Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a fascinating and, well, honestly, kind of terrifying look at the psychology of human deception. Let's just set the stage right away with a pretty hard truth. Every single day you step out into the world and interact with people who are wearing perfect, highly crafted masks. You meet your friends, your colleagues at work, maybe even those closest to you in your family. They smile at you, they greet you warmly, and they project this image of perfect friendliness and care. But fun fact, studies actually suggest the average person is lied to anywhere from 10 to 200 times a day. So, have you ever stopped to wonder if what you're seeing is the whole truth?
Seriously, what truly hides behind those smiling masks? What hidden, potentially destructive intentions are lurking just beneath the surface of those fake smiles from your peers? You know, the biggest problem we face in our daily interactions isn't even necessarily the malice of others, it's our own naivety. It's that childish assumption we carry around that people are entirely transparent and that what they show us is exactly who they are. Well, today, we are going to strip away that naivety completely. Consider this your definitive survival guide for systematically dismantling human deception.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our agenda. We're looking at 1. The masks people wear. 2. Past behavior is destiny. 3. The poison of envy. 4. Spotting the covert narcissist. And 5. The art of detachment. Basically, we're going to learn how to read people like an open book and dodge their hidden daggers before they even have a chance to strike.
Starting with Section 1, the masks people wear, shattering the illusion.
So the world really is like a giant stage, right? And everyone you meet is basically an expert actor who's been rehearsing since childhood to hide their flaws and present this polished, totally fake version of themselves. But here is the vulnerability in their system. No matter how genius the actor is, holding that fake mask up to the world requires immense, exhausting psychological energy. It's literally impossible to maintain 100% of the time. And that brings us to our absolute ultimate weapon, microexpressions. When that exhausting psychological mask slips for just a fraction of a second, a microexpression flashes across their face, and it reveals their bare, unfiltered truth. Listen, if you want to know a person's true intentions, you absolutely must stop listening to their sweet, easily faked words. Words cost nothing. Watch their faces instead.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that timing is everything. You have to notice the specific triggers. Look at their face in the exact moment you share your success, like a promotion. Don't just listen to them say, "Oh, congratulations." Look at their eyes in that first split second. Do you see a quick flash of annoyance, a slight narrowing of the eyes, or maybe this weird, twisted, asymmetrical smile before they recover and fake their joy? That half-second flash is their naked truth. You also want to watch them during sudden flashes of anger, moments of deep exhaustion when their energy is totally drained, or just listen to their true tone when they discuss someone who isn't in the room. These micro-expressions are direct windows into their hidden motives. When you see them, trust your gut. Do not ignore your intuition.
Moving on to Section 2, past behavior is destiny, predicting betrayal.
We all have this massive vulnerability when it comes to toxic behavior. We assume people change. But the brutal truth is exactly this. People don't change. They repeat themselves. Every single person has a deep character forged in their earliest childhood years, and it is permanently etched into their psychological DNA. This deep character compels them to compulsively repeat the exact same patterns, the same mistakes, and the same behaviors throughout their entire life.
And this brilliantly illustrates the childish trap we fall into. We assume our special charm is going to fix someone's toxic past. We think, oh, I know they betrayed their last business partner, but they promised me they've changed. Or, I know they were toxic in their last relationship, but I can fix them. That is a childish belief that just turns you into easy prey. Contrast that with the brutal reality. Character is destiny. If you want to predict a betrayal, completely ignore their future promises. Ignore them. Look strictly at their past. The reality is, someone who steals a single dollar will steal $1 million the moment the opportunity arises. Their past is literally the only reliable map of your future with them.
Now for Section 3, the poison of envy, the enemy within. Think about it. Where do the most fatal, devastating blows actually come from? Not from your obvious enemies. You know who your enemies are. You build walls to keep them out. No, the worst blows come from the inside. They come from your closest friends, your office colleagues, maybe even your own family members. It comes from envy. Envy is the most deeply denied human emotion. It grows in the dark. And here's the key. It strictly happens between equals. You don't envy a billionaire, right? You envy the colleague sitting right next to you who got a slightly better salary. So how do you spot this poison before it infects your life? Watch for two major signs: toxic praise and poisonous jokes.
First, they'll compliment you, but the words are specifically designed to subtly diminish your achievement. They'll say, "Great job on the project. It looks like your luck was really excellent this time." By attributing your hard work to luck, they soothe their own internal pain of feeling inferior. The second sign, poisonous jokes. They'll throw a cruel, very specific jab at your weakness in front of a group, then immediately smile and say, "Oh, I'm just joking. Why are you so sensitive?" Make absolutely no mistake here. These are not jokes. These are exploratory bullets. They are testing your boundaries and slowly releasing their suppressed hatred.
To survive this, you need a solid defense mechanism. So here is a highly effective, actionable tactic: the false humility defense. If you're dealing with insecure, envious peers, step 1 is to consciously downplay your successes. Stop parading your happiness in front of them. Step 2, artificially invent a small personal flaw. Complain about your terrible golf swing or some minor struggle. Let them feel your life isn't perfect. Honestly, it's the psychological equivalent of throwing a bone to a growling dog. Step 3 is the result. By making yourself relatable and slightly flawed, you instantly extinguish their envious fire before it can burn you.
That brings us to Section 4, Spotting the Covert Narcissist, the Eternal Victim.
We live in an era where narcissists are everywhere. But we aren't talking about the obvious, loud narcissist who won't stop bragging about their sports car. No. The covert narcissist is a walking paradox. At first glance, they seem fragile, emotional, and heavily wronged by the world. They'll tell you these deeply sad stories of how everyone has abandoned them, actively drawing out your empathy. But deep down, they possess a pathological, grandiose sense of entitlement. They secretly believe they are a god walking on earth and that the entire world owes them a massive apology. They demand 100% of your attention, feeding endlessly on your empathy.
You need to pay very, very close attention to these red flags. How do they talk about their past? If they are always the innocent angel in every single story and miraculously everyone else in their life was a demon or a conspirator, run. Literally run away immediately and do not look back. If you stay, they will consume every last drop of your psychological energy. And the very first time you fail to serve them or dare to say no, they will instantly flip. You are just being prepped to be cast as the next great villain in their carefully fabricated narrative. Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 5, the art of detachment, disarming and defeating. Now that you see the dark machinery of human nature, the masks, the envy, the narcissism, how do you actually deal with it without losing your own mind? Well, when you need to persuade or criticize someone, you cannot attack them directly. Human beings possess a deeply fragile internal ego. If you tell them they are wrong, a massive defensive wall goes up instantly. They feel controlled. Instead, use strategic yielding. Step 1, start by agreeing with them. Validate their intelligence. Tell them their perspective is absolutely brilliant. Step 2, once their guard drops and they feel safe, gently introduce your idea not as a correction, but as a small, added detail. The greatest negotiators don't kick down locked doors, right? They put oil on the hinges, so the other person opens the door for them with a smile.
But what happens when they actually attack you? You must utilize tactical emotional detachment. This is the ultimate weapon of the awakened warrior. See, most people live in a state of constant automated reaction. A silly comment makes them angry, a fake compliment makes them happy. If you react emotionally, you are nothing but a puppet, and toxic people are pulling your strings. Your anger is literally their food. You have to disconnect emotionally. Step back mentally so you can view the situation with cold, unfeeling logic.
I want you to really internalize this quote. Look at them as a scientist views bacteria under a microscope. When a toxic person attempts to provoke you, understand that their attack isn't actually about you. It's a desperate defense mechanism reflecting their own internal sickness and inadequacy. By viewing them scientifically, by looking at them under a microscope with absolute icy silence, you completely disarm them. You strip them of their weapons and leave them fighting their own ghosts. Cold observation is for sure the strongest psychological shield humanity has ever discovered.
So, the crucial point is that seeing the dark side of human nature is not a reason to become depressed or to isolate yourself. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It is the ultimate form of maturity and freedom. Once you can read the masks, spot the envy, and dodge the covert narcissist, you stop being the crying victim of other people's actions. You step out of the audience and you become the director of the play. You know the actor's roles and you know exactly how the scene ends before the curtain even rises.
I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. You now possess the code. You know how to look past the fake smiles and observe the terrifying, yet completely predictable, mechanics of human nature. The world out there is not a safe space for blind trust. So the choice is yours. Will you remain a blind puppet, emotionally reacting to every tug of the string? Or will you take absolute control of the script, stepping through life with the calm, untouchable confidence of someone who knows exactly what hides in the dark?